which can replicate what litigation gives you. The one feeling which litigation gives, and that is the one thing which is the core area, the center of litigation, is the feeling to stand before a judge and argue the case out on behalf of your client. That feeling can be anywhere else. Experience I share with you for the judge, and this was the initial days of my career. And my client was standing behind in the visitors gallery. We got a favorable order. I came behind. I came to meet him to apprise him of the order. He was way above in age. He was ready to bow down, to touch my feet, and give the entire gratitude which he had. So that is the charm of litigation in India, especially when you are dealing with rural population. They will keep you at a higher pedestal. Similar thing goes with when you deal with corporate. Lawyers are always considered to be at a higher pedestal. That's the general approach which is right there. But this is the good side. This is one thing which aspires everybody. We all have grown up watching movies, we all have grown up watching reading novels, where the idea of lawyer has been glorified. We have learned, and we are in law school, or we have tried to be in a law school with we are aspiring law students. We come across these magnificent stories of top-notch India, people like Ramjit Malani, people like Malias Nariman, people like Nani Palkewala, or Solisa Rajji, or Harish Talve. And we get to know then that how much respect they command across. For example, I take example of somebody from whom I personally take a lot of motivation. This man is known more for his politics, but he was the top-notch lawyer of his time, late Mr. Arun Jaitley. Arun Jaitley, as a lawyer, he was magnificent, and the command he had over the law, and the command to that he had, the respect he had of others because of that, was absolutely out of this world. And these are the things which motivate us to join litigation. But on the flip side, litigation also throws challenges upon you, especially when what we call. Because even in the changing time, litigation in comparison to anything else. The opportunities are fairly low in the initial days. I'm not talking about the eventual days. For example, we all must have heard that Mr. Ramjit Malani used to take 25 lakhs for a case, or Mr. Palis Nariman took 15 lakhs for this case, or he took 50 lakhs for this case. These are the numbers which will be thrown upon you. And across the aisle, these numbers will be thrown upon you. People will tell you to motivate you that this is what the lawyers are making. And it all actually seems true. When you go across, you meet all these lawyers, you find them living in mansions, you find them moving in cars, in luxurious cars, affording luxurious holidays and everything. But in the initial days, and if you read any of these lawyers' biographies or autobiographies, you will find that the initial days are full of misery and struggle, because scoring one single client, ensuring that you get one client and that client pays you enough that you are able to meet your expenses, that's a big thing. That's a big challenge in the initial days. The initial days not only mean initial 5 months or 6 months. Sometimes it may even go to years, initial 3-4 years. Only after that you find yourself, your feet there in litigation, and there onwards you can take ahead when you find that yes, Now things are streaming. Now you are getting a set number of cases. On the other hand, there's another aspect of litigation, which nowadays is booming, which is called corporate litigation or firm litigation, where you join a firm in their litigation side, and there you start doing litigation work. There at least you have something to fall back upon. You have a set salary to fall back upon. That's a cushion for you, and that still keeps you motivated to go ahead. Because again, somehow it replicates what a private litigating lawyer life is. But there are flaws in there as well. I'll be dealing with all the flaws, the pros and cons about the thing. And with all this, find that litigation has different facets, and litigation depends a lot upon how you go about it. As a personal approach, I would recommend that litigation, and especially private litigation, should be taken by only those who have a passion for it. Because if you don't have passion and if you are joining this particular profession with this idea in mind that someday I'll be Harish Salve or someday I'll be Ramjit Malani, it's a good thing to have. That's the objective you have. But what if the objective fails? What if you fail in your goals? So you should also keep that in mind, and then only one should come into this profession. The other side is, and I'm not demoralizing anybody out here, because if you have passion, then you would be able to survive in the initial days. And if you have survived the initial days, you have survived the initial period, then I do not find any reason for any person who is hardworking enough, who finds that, who is passionate enough for this particular field, who is ready to enhance his knowledge at every point of time, there is no doubt that he will succeed, no matter what. Another aspect with respect to litigation, which we all must consider while addressing your questions and throughout this session, would be with respect to the timing. It seems like a beautiful job, a 10 to 4 job. You have a 10 to 4 court. So your job is limited to that 10 to 4 period. But in reality, it is not. And there is across the aisle, no matter whether you are in a firm or whether you are in private practice. You will find yourself in different space where you have to do the hard labor, you have to burn the midnight oil, and you have to spend countless nights, sleepless nights, working upon a case, because that case really matters to you. If that case fails, that practically suffers your practice. So you have to continuously do that. That takes a toll upon your life. What we call as work-life balance. A lawyer in general have a very weird kind of work-life balance. And this is across the aisle, no matter whether you are in private practice or whether you are in corporate firm. And even in corporate firm, whether you are in litigation side or whether you are on the corporate side. Everywhere, this is across the aisle. The moment you have stepped into law, this is something which you will face time and time again, that finding work-life balance is the biggest challenge. So whenever you look forward to consider litigation as an option, all these questions should come into mind. We'll be addressing all these questions through this session. I believe you guys have a lot many questions to address with. And I believe all these questions and the difficulties which I've just pointed out and the opportunities, we must not forget the opportunities. I'm repeating again. I may be sounding cynical, but in the cynicism, there is a ray of hope. There's always a ray of hope for those who are ready to work hard, for those who are persistent, for those who are passionate for this field of law. So over to you, Sparsh. I believe there will be questions from students on this particular field of law in the prospect.
Ujjwal, the questions which were asked by students were already forwarded to you. So if you want, you can, briefly discuss your answers to those questions.
All right. So I'll just bring the.
Meantime, other students who have questions can put their questions in the chat box.
Utkarsh sir, I think he left the chat. Your mic.
I'm saying his network. Yeah, he is back.
Sorry.
His network is bad actually.
Yeah.
Hello. Utkarsh,
Yes,
am I
Ujjwal, we
audible?
can hear you. Yeah, please go ahead. I think he's facing some internet issues. Adhiraj, can you please get in touch with Ujjwal?
Yes, sir. One second.
In the meantime,
Pankaj is calling me.
yeah, okay. In the meantime, the students can think about their questions and put it in the chat box.
Hello.
Yes, Ujjwal, start please.
Sorry, Utkarsh, there's some. Could you please put the questions forward to me one by one?
Yeah, the students have put the questions, Ujjwal. So the first question was put by Shaileshwar Yadav. He says, he asks how to tackle the money related issues at the start of litigation career.
Right. So, you see, I'll just guide you how it starts when it comes to private practice. You join a senior, and with that senior, you groom yourself. So, the first thing first is that if your senior pays you something, and why I'm talking about if, because there is a difference with respect to senior and from high court to high court. There are a lot many seniors who nowadays pays and they pay well. There are a lot many seniors who pays, but their payment is not that big enough that you would be able to manage all your expenses. And there are certain seniors who doesn't pay you at all. So first of all, when you start your litigation career, you first have to see that whomsoever you are joining, and this is the first question we all must consider, that whom you are joining, he pays you something, right? So that's something which gives you a cushion. The second thing which you can do is you can obviously minimizing your expenses is one thing. The second thing is that what I did in my initial years, that from day one, and this is how I was practicing from college day itself, I was going around different places, finding small businesses and trying to address their legal issues. In addressing those legal issues, sometimes I may be getting some small amount, which was helping me eventually in the entire living process. Sometimes I was not getting any amount. So that thing was always there. But that actually helped me in two ways. The moment I'm getting an amount, that is helping me financially. And the moment I am not getting any amount, still I'm able to build a network and eventually I'm getting. So for for the initial 6 months to 1 year period is something which you will have to tackle. Sometimes taking money from your family is one option. So to that you will have to, and you have to minimize your expenses. This is bare minimum. You have to minimize your expenses. And to that you have to continuously look upon from where to get clients. That is the first question to answer. Where you are getting a client, and then to addressing his needs, and then from there you slowly and steadily the money starts to come in, and once the cycle starts, then the wave you're on your, then you will get going. So this is the first hurdle which you have to pass. That is the money problem. So the seniors might help you in some way. Some small shops, small businesses, any friend of yours who needs some kind of legal help, in order to get that, to get some money from them, and that's how you start building it. You might start saving during your law school itself. That's what I did. That I was saving in my law school period as well, so that I can use that saving in my initial period of legal. So these are something which you can do. But believe me or not, if you are stepping into private practice, this is the one hurdle which you have faced. And if you are not ready for that, then please do not come. First of all, please secure yourself financially and then come. That is the other aspect. Because I'm saying this for those people, for example, who have taken loans, who have a loan to repay. You have a huge amount of loan to repay. Then, in my opinion, my humble opinion, and you may differ on this, but so far as my opinion goes, it's better to first get rid of that, to joining to a law firm in the litigation side, so that you can earn some money and then you can repay the loan, get free from those hurdles, and then you can again come back to private practice, so that you have some cushion to fall back upon. If you have no such baggages, if your family is ready to push for a month or two, or for 5 months or 6 months or a year, then you can start your legal practice. And if your senior is paying you well, then you can come into legal practice. Or you have a saving of your own, then you should come to legal practice. So this is the money problem. This is the trickiest question. And in individual basis, every person has to answer it on its own.
Okay. Ujjwal, the second question is from Anshita, a student. She asks, "Sir, what is better between these two? Joining a litigation firm or a independent practice?"
So both have their own pros and cons. Private practice, I just already told you, the first and foremost problem is the money side. And the second problem with it is the uncertainty. You do not know whether you will be able to succeed. You do not know when the money will start coming in, right? But there will be opportunities, a lot many opportunities in private practice. You will get to argue cases on your own. So that zip which is there, that kind of experience, that is unmatched. The experience of arguing a case in front of a judge is absolutely unmatched. And therefore, that if you are ready for that, if you're ready for that challenge, irrespective of all the other hurdles, then private practice is always there for you. Another good part of private practice is...
Ujjwal,
yeah.
Can you please repeat, because of your unclear voice, some of the students could not hear your answer.
So what I was saying is that private practice, the first with respect to private practice, that you go and argue your cases in front of a judge, and that experience is unmatched, unparalleled. The second thing is that you are on your own. So the time, the space is of your own. If for example, you want to prepare a case at 4 o'clock in the morning, you can do that. If you want to prepare a case at 6 o'clock in the evening, you can do that. Subject to a certain level, that when you are preparing a case senior, then you have to adjust accordingly. Or if you have to brief a senior counsel, then you have to adjust accordingly. But by and large, you are on your own space. You can your own timing, subject to these particular things. And the third part, which is the flip side, the money problem. Initial day money problem. But eventually, if you start going, the sky is the limit. We all have heard these brilliant stories. When you come to litigation, money is no problem at all. From day one, you will be paid well enough. depending upon which firm you join. The second part of the firm is, and this differs from firm to firm. A few of the firms, they allow their associates to go and argue just like a private litigating lawyer. So you get that basis covered. I told you about the experience which you get in with respect to arguing in front of judge. So if your firm allows you to do that, then that's absolutely magnificent. You can go ahead with that. But there are also certain firms which do not allow you. What they essentially do, they prepare the case and engage a senior advocate or a practicing advocate in that particular High Court or a Supreme Court or any branch. And that particular senior advocate or advocate goes and argues. So what they are essentially doing, they're again coming back to private advocate. So that is one flip side with respect to those certain law firms. Another flip side with the law firms is that in the initial period, when you are at the associate level or principal associate level or senior level, you can't get your own case unless and until it clearly well with respect to firms paying the package. For example, there will be a friend of yours and you really want to do his case. You can't do that while
Can't hear.
Ujjwal, you're not audible.
I think there's some network issue.
Yeah. He will join again. He's joining again.
Hello.
Yes.
sorry, there's a lot of network issues in this area. I'm not sure why.
It's Allahabad, that's why.
Yeah, probably. So what I was telling you, that litigation in firm side, you can't get your own case. And another point with the firm side is the location disadvantage, or perhaps location advantage, whichever you might want to see it. For example, if you want to live in a big city, in a metropolitan, firm is always there as an option. But if you want to live in a small city, for example, I never wanted to live in Delhi. I do not like Delhi. So going to Delhi is not an option for me. I wanted to be in Allahabad. And if you are in Allahabad, then firm litigation is an option. Only one firm which provides litigation services is here. There's no big firm here which provides litigation services like that. So again, you have to answer that question. Many of you would like to stay back in your hometown, or might want to stay nearby your parents or something like that. Then you have to answer these questions accordingly and have to judge these things accordingly.
Ujjwal, the other question from a student is, sir, how is it possible for a middle class law student to pursue in the field of litigation? As in early stage, there is less income, and how would this be possible since education at National Law School is expensive?
Right. So I myself is from a middle class background. The only good thing which I didn't had a loan to repay. My parents and my family managed to back my education without having a loan. That's why I'm saying, if there is a loan, do not take private practice in the initial days. Please don't do that. You will repent upon it. And I'm saying this out of utter caution and not demoralizing you at all, but just for the sake of it. Go for firm, go for any other job where you are able to repay that loan amount. The loan amount is huge, and especially when you are from a national law school, where the fees structure itself is 1.5 lakh, 1.5 lakh per year, and the entire expenses, if you calculate it, will go somewhere around 1 lakh for a legal education. So if you do not have that baggage, then you may certainly come into legal practice. The initial days you will have to spend with utter caution. You will have your own expenses. For example, I give you my own example. In initial days, I used to cut back on a lot of expenses. A lot of useless expenses I used to cut back upon those. So movie going, watching a movie in the theater, I used to cut back upon that. that even if I am able to save 500 rupees in a week or in a month, the 500 can give me another boost, that can give me some amount to go down to visit some local court where I can go and network with people or something like that. So these are small little things which you have to manage somehow, right? For example, do not go for luxurious item in the initial days. Whatever earning you are having, try to save it, try to meet your own expenses. If your senior pays you, if your chamber pays you, most of the time that payment will address your most of the needs. But if that is not able to meet out your needs, you will have to find odd things. For example, there are few friends of mine, few colleagues who work over here in the Allahabad High Court. They start teaching in your law coaching. So from that, they got some money for in initial days, they are able to survive. But the moment you start get a few cases, in this entire quest, the idea is to find cases, find opportunities to, from where you can get cases. Because even if one case you get, then from there the web starts being created, and from thereupon the money starts flowing in. And once the money starts flowing in, all these problems goes away. So in 4 years of practice, my first year, it took me 1 whole year to get into a break-even point, from where I can say that yes, from now onwards, I do not need to go back to my family or to do multiple things in order to meet out my own expenses. But from there onwards, I'm on my own. I'm now able to give back to my family. I'm able to look after myself and other things as well. So there's only that first initial days of 6 months to 1 year period where you have to address it. And how you will address it, that is something you have to ask your own. Because I have told you the avenue, and there are similar avenues out there. Go out, meet people, address their small legal issues, and from that you make a senior of mine, somebody who's senior to me, profession. He practices in Varanasi Civil Court. He told me that his initial days, his way of incoming was because he was one of the few people back then who was able to translate from Hindi to English. So he used to translate different lawyers, their petitions from Hindi to English. And from that, he used to earn some side money. And through that, he was taking his career ahead. I did it during my initial days, and there are a lot many people who used to take drafting exercises from different people. So there are lawyers who do not have time to draft a lot many petitions. They used to outsource these things. So we used to take from them, and we used to draft it out. That gives us the opportunity to learn as well and earn as well. So all you have to find out whenever you guys are sharp-minded people. You are in national school, you are a sharp-minded people. And from that, you must have to ensure, you must have to find yourself what the avenues are from where you can find some side way of money in the future. Once that period is gone, then you will start making money. There's no problem in that.
Okay, Ujjwal, the other question that some of the students are asking is that whether there is a scope for a fourth generation lawyer in litigation.
There's ample scope out there. There's ample scope. Do not get free. All these families which are out there, the Chandrajuns, the Salves, the Narimans, whomsoever, you name anybody, the Segalwards, whomsoever. At some point of time, there was somebody who was a first generation lawyer. And I'm not talking about that all these families came in the 90s or in the 1990s or, in the 1900s or in the 1800s. There are families who started their legal career in the 1990s, especially after the National Law School boom. You have so many lawyers now coming out who are first generation lawyers, and they are really doing great. So do not deter by this fact that if I'm a first generation lawyer, I won't be able to succeed. Because even if you're a second or third generation or fourth generation lawyer, even that is not a guarantee that you will succeed. For example, there is somebody who is a third generation lawyer, but he do not wish to give that amount of time, that much amount of hard work. This profession needs hard work, and if you are not able to give the hard work, there's no point. So even if you are a third generation lawyer, soon you will fade away. And if you fade away, that means you're creating a void, and that void can be taken up by somebody who's a first generation lawyer. So if you are dedicated, if you are ready for the hard work, if you are ready to burn the midnight oil, then do not deter from this fact that whether you are a first generation lawyer or a second generation lawyer.
That was a great answer, Ujjwal. The other question which was asked by a student is how much can we expect from a senior to pay his juniors in cities like Lucknow, Allahabad and Jabalpur?
I shall not comment upon that, but just to give you a rough idea, the picture out here is not that good. Most of the seniors do not pay. Sometimes they pay in different ways. For example, somebody can give you free lunches or free dinners, right? Somebody may address some other issues. But there are also seniors who are now started to paying well, especially those who are coming out of national law school and have the new idea of how the legal system or the law school system is working. Because you see, this system, especially in these three high courts which you have referred to, the Lucknow bench of Allahabad High Court, the Allahabad High Court and the Jabalpur High Court.
Ujjwal, your voice is not clear.
Sorry, I'll repeat myself. Am I audible now?
No, it's still cracking. See if your network is...
Hello? You're audible now?
Yeah, now you're audible.
So, in the traditional high court, in the regional high court, the picture is not that fascinating or that motivating. Most of the senior heirs do not pay. Sometimes they pay you in some different ways. For example, there are out here who will give you free lunches. So if you are there, free lunches will come in the offices, the free dinners will come. So that part is covered up. Some who are young, who are coming out of this new legal phenomena of national law school, who understand this new legal system, this new legal system, they are the ones who are paying. And the payments start, and it varies actually. There are certain who are paying, let us say, 25,000, 20,000, 30,000, 35,000, and there are certain who are not paying that enough. There are certain who are paying 5,000, 10,000, something like that. So you have to find a balance. You have to see how much the senior whom you are joining, how much he's paying, or if he's not paying, what else he's giving. For example, if a senior is not paying much to you, if he's paying 5,000, but he's allowing you to work on your own as well. He's not stopping you from your own work. He's giving you ample amount of time to do your own work. Then in that way, his 5,000, 10,000 is not a bad deal. So that is something which is a constant thing coming through. And while doing your own cases, you are earning something else. So the entire package somehow gives you the opportunity to meet your expenses. If somebody is paying 35,000, and if he is not allowing you to do your own cases, probably in the initial days, that is the way to look forward. Because through that, you are able to meet out your own expenses. In the meantime, you are making your own network. And thereafter, you can, then once you have some savings, you go ahead and put them. So whenever you look for a senior, just look for whether how much he is paying or how he's dealing with his juniors, how much opportunities he's giving, how much open he is. All these things have to see, and then only one has to answer the question. Back to you, sir.
Okay. One student is asking what areas should be focused on if one wants to go in the field of international litigation, and can someone pursue this?
Very I do not think somebody who is first-time lawyer or whoever started the practice can go and venture out into international litigation. One thing which you may venture out is international commercial arbitration, right? International commercial arbitration is something which is happening nowadays on a regular basis, and most of this international commercial arbitration are being handled out by firms. So if you want to look into this area, then the firms are the place where you can go forward to, and from there onwards, you can find out how to go about it.
Okay. Ashutosh sir, do you have any question?
Yes, sir, I have a question. but I expected this from students. But nevertheless, I'll ask this question. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Joel, first of all, thank you very much for holding this session and giving us this opportunity. One thing I want you to discuss with us. I find it sometimes that the first thing is that when you started your session, you talked about passion in litigation. So when we talk about passion in litigation, we find ourselves in sometimes we find ourselves in some paradoxes. Like example, if I talk about my experiences, while I was practicing in Allahabad High Court, a lawyer came to me from Bijnor. His case was about acquisition of property, and the client exhausted all his remedies, including Supreme Court. And again, he came to me to file a litigation before High Court. And while I was practicing in the Allahabad High Court, I had joined the chamber of Advocate J.J. Munir before he was elevated to. I knew that this case thing be dismissed, but I had to come all the way from Varanasi and to talk to this client. And I thought if I tell him that your petition will be dismissed on the very first day, and you go to some other law or you go back to your city, so that client will not be satisfied and he will go to some other lawyer and he will give him the money. So why not me? Let me take the money which he is ready to give, because I knew that he will not return back to his city and he will pay money for the lawyer. So how do you choose between this thing that you are the warrior of justice? You consider yourself to be a warrior of justice. Sometimes you call
young lawyer or a established lawyer, it is always there. Everybody wants to get more and more clients. So every client prospect becomes important and relevant. But from my own experience, I can share you that do not do not misguide your client. Tell him what the reality is. If he's coming up with a case, tell him that this is the case and this is how it's gonna be. If there is any good side in it, if there is only 1% chance in it, tell him that as well. If there is 1% chance that this is, if you put this forward, he might succeed in that. And after that, if he is ready to go ahead with the case, then go ahead with it. Because you are there, it's not only about upholding the justice for a lawyer. That's one part of it. The other part is that as a lawyer, we should not judge our own client. That's the job of the judges to do. So whether my client has done a wrong or not, I am nobody to judge it. That's the judge to judge it. So my job is to put forward the best possible case in front of the judge. So as far as my own capabilities, I will tell my own client, and I have been telling them that you see, this is the current situation. Like, for example, I take a recent situation. Because of the COVID thing, a lot many district courts are dysfunctional right now, and a lot many matters are not being heard. Some of the clients whose matter should eventually be gone to the law court wants to come to the high court directly, and they say that you file it. I categorically tell them that you see, we may file it. We have one argument that we do not have local court functioning at this moment, and therefore it should be heard. That is the argument we should go forward with. But in all reality, in all realisticness, the facts of your case is not that good enough that it will succeed in the court. If after this explanation, the client still wants to go ahead with it, then go ahead with it. Do not judge his facts. Then go ahead with it. If he is not going ahead with you, do not repent upon it. Because if you are certain that this case is gonna fall, if this case will not succeed, then eventually it will not be succeeded, no matter who takes up the case. And the moment it is not succeeded, the lawyer who paid that, the client who paid that lawyer, who went out and eventually did the case, that client will realize that you were saying the correct thing. You were actually correct that this case will not succeed. So then again, next time when he'll get some new case, then he will come back again, and he'll come back again to you because you were the one who gave him the correct advice. So that is one thing which you will have to address. Do not go back. Sometimes this is what I do, that the money becomes very lucrative. And as a person, prima facie, I think that there's no point doing this case. This is absolutely open and shut. But I may be wrong. My own legal knowledge is limited. So this is one technique which I adopt, that I ask my client that, you see, so far I can see this case might not be well enough to go forward, but give me a day or two time. Let me go back and let me see if we have any avenues to go for. And during that 1 or 2 days, I examine this case to the best of my capabilities. I meet out people, I discuss it with them, and I try to find out if there is any possibility. And if I am able to find it out, then I go back to my client that, you see, I found out this, there is one possibility. If we take this particular approach, we might be able to succeed. And then, in that case, the client stays with me. So these are certain tricks which one has to follow. I've been following this, and as rightly you have said, that the client always have the option to go to somebody else, no matter what. There are clients for whom you will do great, still they will go on and find somebody else, no matter what. So that is something which you do not have a hold upon. And as a personal advice to anybody who is litigating right now or who thinks of litigating, do not take guarantee. Do not tell your client that this case is guaranteed. I guarantee that you will succeed in it. Do not take in that. You do not know who the judge is going to be. You do not know how the judge is going to take this. It's you who think that you want to succeed on these particular sets of matters. You do not know the judge. Probably today, if you file it, there will be Mr. X who will be judging it, and Mr. X decides these kind of cases in this kind of manner. But what if, when the case comes before the court, Mr. X is on leave on that day? The matter goes to Mr. Y, and Mr. Y completely decides where your guarantee is. So do not take guarantee. Do not tell your client that this is
Ujjwal, may I interfere? Yeah, I just want to continue Ashutosh sir's questions, because that was one of the questions that even I have been thinking, that you have been talking about litigation, and what you say really reflective of your passion towards litigation. But to all our students who are in the first and second year, if we want to inspire them for litigation, given the situation which was quoted by Ashutosh sir, how do you, inspire the students to, be passionate about litigation, especially in a situation where you know that the case is not going to be it's not going to be successful. Secondly, you are not going to get paid because you are working in a senior's office. So in that situation, how do you, meditate, or, I don't know how to put it, but even I have the same question.
I got the drift. So you see, I had these doubts, and throughout the career, like in my initial days, I had the doubt whether I'm even meant for this, whether I'll be able to succeed or not. And these doubts will keep on coming. I asked one of my friends, a colleague out here, who is a third generation lawyer, and I told him that, this is what I'm feeling right now, that probably I should leave. That what is this? I'm not able to make clients. I'm not able. My cases are not being succeeded. I'm getting defeated. Not. So he told me one thing, and this is absolutely correct. He says that these doubts, these will keep on coming throughout your entire legal career. No matter who you are, no matter whether you are Ujjwal Satsangi, no matter whether you are Utkarsh Mishra, no matter whether you are Harish Talve, because the reason for that doubt might differ from time to time. And right now, the reason would be that you are not getting a client. Tomorrow, when you have clients, you do not have time. The reason would be that I should leave this practice because I am not getting enough time to address my family. So this question, the self-doubt will always keep on coming. But what he told me, he said that, but then again, what happens is that the moment you reach to the tipping point, you get one case. You don't know from where. You get that one case who just reinfuses that entire charisma of this particular profession. That case might be so interesting, so intriguing, or that case might give you so much money of anything. There can be anything which motivates you. And that one case will keep you in this profession for a longer time. And again, when the curve will again fall down and you will feel like, yeah, I should leave, again a case will come from somewhere and you will again go ahead and go up. So the point is that you need to stay in. If you will not stay in, there's no point, then you won't be able to succeed. You need to first stay in. So far as the passion is concerned, the motivation to first and second years are concerned. The first thing first which they need to understand how to approach it or why they are going ahead with it. The one thing I find myself, I had, and you know this, that I had the options to go to corporate houses, to law firms, to practice. I had the opportunities for that. I didn't go over there for the one simple reason that I asked myself that I have spent 5 years in the law school. I have done the slogging over there. I have participated in a moot court. I have written research. I have done all the sloggings one can ask for. Even if after all the slogging, I do not get the opportunity, even one single opportunity to go before a judge and argue a case, then what's the point doing law for me? That was the motivation for me to join litigation. In a similar way, the students have to ask themselves, what is the motivation they are looking for? Whether finding the solution to various problems of law, is that their passion? If that is their passion, then litigation is the career they should go for. If going deep into law and finding absolutely bizarre kind of argument, if that's your passion, go for litigation. You are meant for that. If you are ready to give long hours and timeless hours, leaving aside all your comfort, everything, just for the one thing that I want my arguments to be heard and I want to be appreciated by the judge or by my client or whatever, then this profession is for you. But if you think, if your motivation is, no, I want money from day one, then litigation is not for you, my friend. Litigation was never for you. It's a very noble profession. It is called a noble profession for this very reason. So those who do not have a thrive for money, those who have a thrive for knowledge, those who have thrive for something beyond that, they are meant for litigation. The others are not meant for it. Money will come.
I think again there's some problem. Ujjwal, sir, can you listen?
He is facing internet issues again.
Yeah, Utish. I hope the last part of my answer was audible to everybody.
Please repeat the last part of your answer.
Sir, I would
Yeah.
like to interrupt.
Yeah.
No, sir, once you are finished, then I'll ask my
Okay.
question.
Okay. All right. So, what I was just pointing out that if money is your passion, then litigation is not for you. Because if money is your passion, what we were earlier talking about, that money will drive you to take a case, and that probably drive you to do things which a lawyer should not do, then you were never meant for this. This is a very noble profession. If knowledge is something which drives you, if the intellect is something which drives you, if the respect is something which drives you, then this profession is for you. Yeah.
Sir, I would like to ask, can you brief the students that what role does internship plays when you when you once finally choose your career as a litigator? So how does internship plays a role in this then? So why does internship is important? Can you like tell the students? Because
Right.
many students have this
Right.
question that if we are going to finally choose our career as a litigator, or if we are going to appear for some competitive exams, then why are we doing internships?
Right. If you are thinking about doing litigation, first of all, like this is my own personal perspective, and you guys may have a different perspective. Internships are the opportunities through which you can identify what your calling is. So one should not only look upon that I will be doing internship in this particular approach only. You have the opportunity to go and do internship in different areas: litigation, law firms, in-houses, NGOs, or everything. Do a clerkship with the judges, because that gives you an idea, that gives you the taste at how these things are. You are now in the area, you are inside the entire structure, and from there onward you can see it. So then your idea gets clear that, okay, I was thinking about doing this, but there are these flip sides to these things which I can't do, and therefore you leave those things aside. So in the initial year, first 2-3 years, you should have a diverse kind of internship so that you can get an idea. But once you are determined enough that yes, I want to approach this particular field, you are determined that I want to go into litigation, then comes two major questions. Number one, where you want to litigate. Number two, with whom you want to litigate. And the entire internship should be based around that only. So, for example, if you are not certain whether to litigate in Allahabad or whether to litigate in Delhi, and once you are clear that yes, Delhi is the place for me, then look forward for litigation, for internships in Delhi. Once you are clear that no, Allahabad is the place for me, then do internship. While doing internship, not only draw senior with whom you are doing the internship, look out for others as well, so that you may find the best suited person for your career in the future. You might be interning with a very beautiful person, a very great lawyer, but if he is not giving opportunity to his juniors, then what's the point joining him later, right? If you find somebody else while your internship in the same corridor, that okay, this is somebody who is giving opportunity to juniors as well, then you might apply him to him in the next term. At the same point of time, when you are at a particular place and intern, then you must look for avenues to learn more and more. And your learning should not be restricted to mere researching. Research is something which you do in your law school as well. Internships are not meant for researching. You should do something more than that. And sometimes lawyers do not give you more than research because they are having doubts that whether you will be able to do it or not. Their doubt will be removed when you start delivering the research to them in the shortest amount of time possible. So if you ask them, if for example, during my internship, my senior gave me a particular brief that on this I want a judgment. I was able to give him back the judgment within an hour. That okay, these are these judgments, and whatever he asked me, I gave a bit more than that. That okay, these are the judgments which are in our favor, and these are the judgments which are against. To that, he thought that okay, I can do more things. So he started giving me more things with that. So with that, then he gave me small applications to draft. Then I started drafting that. He corrected it. Later on the internship period, when I drafted a few of the applications, he found that okay, I can draft major petitions as well. So he gave me a contempt application during my internship period. I drafted the contempt application. Through that, I learned myself. So this is what students while doing internship should look into, that how much they are able to learn, and they should keep on asking their seniors that I have done this, please give me more work or something like that. At the same point of time, in the courtroom, and this is one tip I'm giving to all the students out there, whenever you are doing a internship in a litigation chamber, or when you are going to court, for example, during internship, there's always a roster for that particular court. Go through that roster, check out which court is hearing what kind of matter, and then according to your knowledge, for example, if a kind of court is hearing criminal matters, criminal bail or 482 application, and you have read criminal law till that point of time, then it's better to go into that court and listen to the arguments over there, because then you will be able to understand it in a better frame of mind. Unlike if you sitting in a taxation court where you haven't read taxation at all by that point of time. The flip side is that if you have read taxation, then go sit in the taxation court, give some time over there, listen out what is happening over there, and then you will get to know that what is actually happening, how a lawyer is molding it, how And this also helps when you are assisting your senior. Most of the senior gives you briefs to read upon. Read it thoroughly. Do not read it with this intent that I need to tell my senior that what are the facts. Read it with the intent that tomorrow, when your senior goes and argue that case, you are able to recollect what was there in it. You are able to understand that what your senior put forwarded, what your senior kept back. Through that, you would be able to get all these nitty-gritty, right? How litigation is to be done. What are those tip and tricks which are being followed? What questions are being followed from the judges? What the judges are. So those things have to be observed upon.
Exactly. So students, those who are having doubt that internships are a waste of time, so it is not actually a waste of time. It is helping you to identify your interest and develop your career.
Right. Right. From my own experience, in my first year, I interned in a NGO come think tank, a research think tank. In my second year, I interned in the Allahabad High Court. In my third year, I interned in Ranchi High Court, in Jharkhand High Court. I also interned in the Supreme Court. Then I went to the trial court. I did an internship in trial court. I also, in the meantime, I did an internship with law firms, two of law firms. So with all these, with every passing internship, I started finding out, okay, what are the pros, what are the cons, and from that onward, I started finding out what should I go up with. So for example, research and NGOs, that was an absolute no for me in the initial days itself. I'm not meant for that kind of work. Then I came back to Allahabad High Court. I had my own doubts about Allahabad High Court when in my second year of internship. Then I went to the Supreme Court. I look out there, how things are being done out there. Then I realized that, okay, there are certain flaws out here as well in Delhi that I have to, the money side, the expense side, the client side, also things. I went back to the Jharkhand High Court. I look out how Jharkhand High Court functions. I got an idea out there. That internship was a very good internship for me because I learned a lot in that internship. I came back to Allahabad High Court once I got the opportunity. During that time, I had done the firm internship advice. In the firm side, I was very inclined to go to the firm. But I realized that one thing which was stopping me, I already pointed out that the firm might not allow me to go before the court to argue the case. And I wanted to go and argue the cases. So then I realized that now in Allahabad, I have found somebody. I found Mr. Kartikeya Saran, that yes, if I join him, my career graph would be good. He gives opportunity to his juniors. He's a very good lawyer. Through that, I interned under him. I got the idea from inside as well, and then I decided to stay with him. So the internship gives me these kind of answers, which I could not have got if I hadn't done internship at all. I could have, then I had to ask these questions myself. So internship gives you that opportunity, and those opportunities should be taken by each and every student.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can you give us some tips to conduct a good legal research and about court mannerism in court?
Very difficult question to answer because you see, research is something which is very broad. So I don't think that it can be explained in one session or in this thing. And mannerism, be gentle. Do moot court. Moot court is something through which you get an idea. Once you start doing moot court, you will start getting an idea how to do a research. If you are trying to find a particular answer, how to go ahead with it in certain facts.
I think Ujjwal, we will have a separate session on research and moot court mannerisms, and let's restrict our discussions to the career prospects. We'll surely have one session on.
Utkar sir, if I may intervene.
Right. You can always have that, and one should always learn.
And sir,
Utkar sir, can you please take a question which has come from Aditya Puri, which is like how much time it takes to meet a 50 to 60,000 monthly income benchmark? Can you please ask?
Yeah, Ujjwal, over to you. I think his net is again.
Mic is, sir, his mic is muted.
His
mic
no
is-
his. Ujjwal, did you listen to the question?
I didn't get the question.
Okay, the question was the student is asking how much. I mean, how much does it take to earn a 50 to 60K in a month? That is a question by
A lot.
Okay.
it, it takes a lot. It depends upon, see, it all depends upon where you are practicing and how the client is. So I have certain clients, for example, I did a bail for 500 rupees. That is the lowest amount of fees I have got. And I have also catered the needs of certain multinational clients who paid me really well. Right? So it differs, it depends upon what client you are getting, how many clients you are getting, and where you are practicing actually. For example, in Delhi, 50, 60,000 in one or two cases is nothing. You can easily make it. Right? In Allahabad, it is very difficult to make it with one or two clients. Right? Sometimes if you get one out of the blue, you get one or two clients who are ready to pay you that much. Because again, as a young lawyer, if somebody is paying you 60,000, you can also go out and find somebody else who has a 10 years of practice in 75,000 or in 55,000, right? So you cannot go out and open your mouth to a client saying that I want 55,000 and you are in first year of your practice. So that has to be taken into account. So as I told you, it takes a lot. You have to find more and more cases from where you can find more clients, more opportunities, expand your network. That is one thing. Expand your network as much as you can. Keep expanding it during your law school itself. Go back to your hometown. Let people know that you are a lawyer. You are a lawyer to be. Tell people in your because we can't advertise. So all we have is word of mouth. So through that you can expand, and then you can think of or you can expect that yes, tomorrow people might come in and you might earn 50 to 60,000 every month.
Also, I think Ujjwal,
students
correct
need
me
to
if I'm wrong.
socialize more and more to build.
Yeah.
Sir,
Also,
I would like to, yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to add
Just
something.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, what happens in Allahabad High Court, what I have seen, that if a client goes directly to a senior lawyer whose fees is around 1 lakh or 1,25,000, 1,50,000, the client will have to pay him that amount. But he finds a junior advocate who's associated with that senior advocate, and he goes to that junior advocate and asks him to file this case on behalf of that senior advocate. What happens? The junior advocate takes that whole amount, or maybe say that as 25% less from the client, and he only pays 20,000, 25,000 to the senior advocate and says that, sir, this is my client. I want you to appear before this court in this case. And the senior very and appears on this in this case on behalf of the junior client or the advocate. And easily the junior advocate can make 50 to 60,000 in a month only from a single client. So it is all about tactics. And Ujjwal, please correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I've seen, and even I myself practice this.
Certainly, there are certain kind of people. I do not back these kind of practice. So, for example, and it also depends upon your senior. For example, if your senior is ready to bring his fees from 1.5 lakh to 20,000, that also depends upon that. If your senior is not ready to bring it down to that level, that is another thing which you must take into account. So, for example, I do not back this kind of activity. For me, if my client is paying this, and if I'm taking the money on the name of my senior, then it is my job to give it to my senior. If my senior is giving something back from it to me, that's a separate thing. That is for my senior to decide. So that is something which differs from person to person. But yeah, certainly these practices are taking place and people are making money out of it.
Okay. We have other questions, Ujjwal. There is another question by Arpit Sanjar. he is asking, sir, could you please elaborate the levels to become a licensed advocate which an aspiring litigant has to follow?
Levels of become licensed advocate.
Could you please elaborate? I am also not very clear with this question.
Sir, he's actually asking about the procedure of getting a license or associated with the bar association. That I think will teach them in professional ethics and all. So
Okay.
I don't believe
So
it is
then-
required here.
Okay. Then we have another question by Aditya Puri. He is asking, do we require to subscribe to softwares like SCC Online, Gist or Manupatra in our personal capacities during our initial days of practice?
Not necessary, because most of the time what happens is that there are libraries in the High Court where these softwares are present, and you can very much access it through there. You can also have your seniors chambers. There are seniors who allow you to access their own databases for you to research upon. And sometimes collectively people do this. For example, 5 or 6 people came together and they took one license, and through that they are accessing it. So not necessary, but eventually you should, once you are able to. By the time you are not able to, you do not have that much money, try to find out different avenues to access it. Try to find out cases without these databases. There are always opportunities. Instead of going for these databases, it's always a better option to go and purchase a book. That is what I feel like. So I believe when you will be dealing with legal research, and when they will be taught about how to do offline research as well, then you will realize that these online databases are not that really necessary. You can always find books, and books actually gives you far better result than these databases.
Okay.
Yes,
Ujjwal, there
so
is
we
another
move on
question
to
by...
the next question.
Yeah. There is another question by Arpit Sanjar. He is asking, what value does the mood of the judge carries? And what should one do when the things doesn't seem right?
This is absolutely court tactics. Like it depends upon a lot. With practice, with experience, you get to know that how to get away with those things. For example, a very good judge, a very liberal judge, might have an off day, and you have your own. Unfortunately, you have your own case on that particular day. So somehow we have our own tricks to which we try to avoid that judge on that particular day, or we somehow try to manage out. So those are tricks you will learn that eventually. I mean, right now it cannot be explained it, and a lot of it that depends upon watching the court repeatedly. So even when we do not have our cases, we have a free time in the court. For example, I've done one case in the morning, and my next case is gonna come at 3 o'clock in the evening. In the middle period, I go out and watch different courts, how they are doing, how they are dealing with cases. Through that, we get an idea, we get the psyche of a particular judge, and how people are getting their cases away from that court, how they are saving their cases through that. So from that, we get an idea. So that is in your domestic laws first. And only once you have a mantle in that, then you get an opportunity to work it at an international stage. So that has to be seen. I mean, it would be better if this question is asked to somebody who is dealing in this area. I do not have any idea of international litigation for that matter.
So we have held a session completely based on maritime law. So I think students must be having a clear idea about it now.
So, do Pankaj, another question? Okay.
Utkarsh sir, I'm unable to hear you. I think you are not audible to everyone.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ujjwal, I have come to the close of the session now. Adhiraj and Pankaj, please.
Yeah.
Close of the session. Hello, Pankaj. You there? Okay, I think some network issue with my competitors. Ujjwal, can you hear me?
Yes, so
Yeah,
we
I
can
can hear
hear
you.
you now.
Okay, so on behalf of whole I propose a plan. Ujjwal agreed to speak which is such a tough time, and for the students, whatever questions they gave them their answers also, and Ashutosh sir was also present in this session, and along with Shruti ma'am, I thank both my dear friends and all the students participating in the session. So thank you, people. Thank you for agreeing to take a session on education once again. And we have in our university soon. As soon as the university opens and everything is normal, you in the university physically and have some more code sessions from because I told you that all of you Ujjwal is a practically to start mode code with motor. So we will have some university. Ma'am, would you like to something?
So should I? So I'm back online. So can I close the session?
Hello.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone. With this, we conclude today's webinar. On behalf of all the participants and Dharmashastra National Law University, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Ujjwal sir for this enriching and illuminating session. We thank you for sharing your valuable insights on litigation as a career option. I also extend my gratitude to our Vice Chancellor, Professor Balraj Chauhan, and our Head of Department, Dr. V.S. Jijimon. I would also like to extend our thanks to our mentor, Dr. Shilpa Jain, for her constant support. I would like to take this opportunity to specially thank Shruti ma'am and Utkarsh sir for their constant guidance and tireless efforts to make this webinar series a success. I congratulate all the participants for making this webinar a success, and we expect such active participation in the future. And last but not the least, special gratitude to our friend Arpit Sanjar for helping us coordinate this webinar. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Ujjwal. We'll close the session now.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Utkarsh. It was
Adhiraj.
a pleasure.
And
Take
thank
care.
you, Ujjwal sir.
Yeah, same, everybody. Thank you.